Orthopedic surgeons make an average of $577,000 per year in the United States, but they also work more than most other adults. So on average, how many hours a week you work?
As a resident, sometimes up to 80 to 100 hours a week. As a fellow, a little bit less than that. But in practice, the time actually working at the hospital and in my office, that does not count all the other time that I'm prepared for surgeries, reading, talking to other physicians, just game. I mean, it adds up, probably 60 to 80.
But guess what? It's actually possible for a nurse to also earn this much money by working the same number of hours. There's one hospital in the entire country that's going to make this possible, and I'm going to reveal it in this video. And I'll be putting a nurse's income up against that of an orthopedic surgeon. We're going to see how much money the average US nurse would earn if they were to also work 70 hours per week. And then we're going to have a side-by-side comparison with a nurse working in one of the highest paying hospitals in California. I'm going to show you exactly how much the nurses in these scenarios would earn if they were to also work 70 hours per week. And by the end of this video, you may begin to understand why every nurse in the United States is flocking to Northern California. Orthopedic surgeons make $577,000 per year, and the median salary for nurses in the United States is $81,220. And nurses in California can earn as much as $330,422 per year without working overtime. But how much education will they need to get to that point? To become an orthopedic surgeon, you have to complete 4 years of an undergraduate degree, 4 years of medical school, 5 years of residency, and 1 to 2 years of a fellowship in a specialty you're interested in practicing. And in this case, it's orthopedic surgery. And nurses, well, 2 years. Yeah, that's it. In 2 years, you could be working as a nurse in one of the highest paying hospitals in the country. Now, let's talk about working hours. The average surgeon works 70 hours per week, and 4 in 10 take home extra work with them. And one thing you'll find is that when you hear about nurses working more than 40 hours per week, everyone begins to criticize them and the quality of their work. They begin to question whether a nurse working too many hours is putting their patients at risk, but they never raise the same question when doctors do it.
I put in at least 80 hours at one spot, and I believe 84 hours at another. So 164 hours.
Every 2 weeks?
Every 2 weeks, yeah.
When doctors work more than 40 hours per week, they don't earn overtime. Some employees with medical licenses are exempt from overtime laws if they are engaged in the practice of medicine. This means that a doctor is exempt from overtime pay, but only if actually working as a doctor. And medical residents and interns are also exempt from overtime laws and do not qualify for overtime pay. And even though you may see some nurses working 8, 10, or 12-hour shifts, a research study done by NYU found that they're working about 39.4 hours per week. Now, let's go over the numbers and compare an orthopedic surgeon's salary to that of a nurse in several different scenarios. And I'll be including the following spreadsheet for free in the description below so you can plug in your hourly rate and compare it to the ones you see in this video. All that I ask in return is that you give this video a like and share it with your friends. So, what's the name of this mystery hospital, which is one of the highest paying hospitals for nurses in the United States? It's Kaiser Permanente, the only hospital that offers what we like to call run pay. Imagine being able to earn time and a half every hour of the day that you work, and on every 7th consecutive day that you work, you get double your regular rate for every single hour that you work. I previously made a video on that exact topic, so make sure you click on this link over here when you're done with this video. So first, as you can see, for an orthopedic surgeon to be working 70 hours per week, they'd have to be earning an hourly rate of $178.53. That means that if they work 70 hours per week, 52 times of the year, if you multiply that by $178.53, you're going to get a yearly income of $557,000. Monthly, that comes out to just over $46,000. For those of you who have been watching my videos before, you already know, and I've said this several times before, I currently work at Kaiser Permanente in the emergency department, and my hourly rate as an evening shift employee is $102.33. This includes my base pay as well as my evening shift differential. However, if you're an average nurse in the United States, you can expect your hourly rate to be somewhere around $39.05 per hour. And if you're working anywhere outside of California besides 1 or 2 other states, you should not expect to earn overtime unless you work more than 40 hours in 1 week. And that's one of the special things about working in California. California. If you're an employee in California, you will be earning time and a half after you work 8 hours in a single day. And you will also be earning time and a half if you work more than 40 hours in a single week. In addition to that, if you are an employee in California, you also get paid double time on your 7th day of work. But the beauty of working for Kaiser is that you have run pay. And you don't have run pay when you work anywhere else in Northern California, let alone the rest of the country. So if you're a nurse in the United States, again, you're going to be making $39.05 per hour, and your overtime rate is going to be $58.58 per hour. Now let's take a look at how much you're going to earn based on the number of hours you're going to be working. Let's say you're one of the average nurses in the United States and you're working 12-hour shifts. Your average weekly pay is going to be $1,400, and you're going to be making around $73,000 per year. However, if you are a Kaiser employee and your hourly rate is similar to mine, because most Kaiser employees are earning over $90 per hour, then you could potentially be grossing $4,297 on a weekly basis. If you look at these numbers, you're thinking, in these scenarios, my salary is nowhere near what orthopedic surgeons are making. But you have to remember, this is for nurses working 36 hours per week. So then you would ask yourself, if I multiply 36 by 2, I'm over 70 hours per week. If I multiply $220,000 by 2, I'm nowhere near that $557,000. This is why I have to plug Kaiser into the equation. No other hospital will allow you to work fewer hours and earn just as much as an orthopedic surgeon. And in addition to that, you can benefit from the overtime laws in California. So now let's take a look at a nurse working 4 12-hour shifts in the US and one working 12-hour shifts 4 times a week in Kaiser Permanente. If you're a US nurse, your yearly pay is going to be $105,000 per year. If you're working 40 hours a week at regular pay and 8 hours a week in time and a half, because anything after 40 hours is going to be paid at time and a half. Now let's look at the Kaiser nurse. If you're a Kaiser nurse and you're working in Northern California, you're going to be earning 28 hours of regular pay after your 8th hour and 20 hours of time and a half. You are going to be bringing home $308,627 working 4 12-hour shifts. At this point, you are already earning just as much as doctors are with 10, 12, 14 years of education under their belt, and nurses are coming out of school with much less debt than doctors are. The majority of doctors are graduating medical school with more than $200,000 and $250,000 of student loan debt. There's more to the spreadsheet, and you can look at the rest of the numbers yourself, but I'm going to now compare the RN salary working 70 hours per week to that of the orthopedic surgeon salary. Let's say you're an average US nurse and you're working 70 hours per week. Your hourly rate is going to be $39.05 per hour, and your overtime rate is going to be $58.58 per hour. If you're working 40 hours for regular pay and 30 hours of time and a half, your weekly pay is going to be $3,319. Your bi-weekly pay is going to be $6,638. Mind you, all of this is gross income. It is not income after your taxes are deducted. And you're going to have a gross yearly salary of $172,601. And this is with you having to work 6 days per week. But if you're a nurse working at Kaiser Permanente and you're working 28 hours of regular pay, 42 other hours are going to be paid at time and a half. You're still working 70 hours per week, just like an orthopedic surgeon, and you're going to be bringing home $484,000 per year. This is just method number 1 of running these numbers. Let's say, for example, you don't want to work 6 days per week and you want to have more free time. Well, if you work in California, then any number of hours that you work over 12 hours in one day are going to be paid at double your regular rate. That means that if you work a 16-hour shift, from the 8th hour to the 12th hour of your shift, you're going to be paid at time and a half. If you work any number of hours past your 12th hour, you're going to be paid at double your regular rate. So 4 of your hours are going to be paid at time and a half, and the other 4 hours are going to be paid at double time. That means that if you work 4 16-hour shifts in a row and you come in on the 5th day and you pick up 4 to 6 additional hours, your yearly income is going to be $537,000 per year. Your monthly gross income is going to be $44,000. Now, if you compare that to an orthopedic surgeon's salary. The orthopedic surgeon is grossing $46,416. That's only $2,000 more than the nurse with an associate's degree. Think about that for a second. As a nurse with an associate's degree, you could be earning more than an orthopedic surgeon, but you have to make the right choices. When Monica and I worked in New York City, we moved to California specifically for the reason that we were feeling underpaid in New York City, and we felt like the cost of living was much higher than we were able to afford. Now we live in Sacramento, California, in a city with a cost of living that is much lower than New York City and very similar to that of Austin. But if you're the average nurse working in the United States, you have to be willing to make some sacrifices. Either you fight for higher wages or you move to a state that's going to pay you what you think you deserve. There's going to be no other way around that. And as the average US nurse, if you work the same number of hours as this Kaiser nurse working 16-hour shifts, you can expect to earn $172,000 per year. That's close to $300,000 less than a nurse working in Northern California. And before you start talking about how taxes are going to eat up your paycheck, even after our taxes are deducted, Monica and I are left with way more money than we were ever able to earn in New York City. One thing we should take away from these comparisons is the fact that orthopedic surgeons can earn much higher wages than nurses can on average. And only nurses in specific parts of Northern California have the luxury of being able to earn wages that align with those of their fellow doctors. This means that orthopedic surgeons can just move to a low cost of living city or state and easily surpass the earning potential of any nurse in the same location. But it should also be said that 52% of orthopedic surgeons do not feel like they are compensated well, and for good reason. It takes them 13 to 15 years just to become licensed orthopedic surgeons. And when you have nurses with associate's degrees who can earn just as much as orthopedic surgeons, why should they feel like they are well compensated? If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more like it, make sure you like this video, subscribe to our channel, and comment for more. And if you want to stop being a broke nurse, watch this video here. Also, don't forget to buy our salary spreadsheets right below this video.